Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folani. Today, well, we're looking at security, and there's a sense in which it is security as well, but really it's about the social media and, quite frankly, the danger beyond worry of false reporting that's going on social media, and that millions of people, maybe thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions, are actually consuming, reading, and running with the story just because they saw it on social media. The case with Nobel laureate Professor Wole Soyinka comes to mind. Day before yesterday, around the 9th. And before you knew where we were, the good prof was being attacked. You know, he has been invaded. And then everybody who was close to Professor Soyinka has come out to say no truth whatsoever to the story. His son, a former commissioner in Ogun State, Dr. Ola Okun Soyinka, has spoken. His very close associate, Dr. Olu Adeburua, has spoken. The commissioner in Ogun State has gone there, has spoken. It was nothing more than a stray cow. A stray cow. But it looks like the tension is such that even that, it is possible to spin it and whip it up as if in some sort of a frenzy. And by the way, I'm looking at my guest this morning, which I'll take the opportunity to just introduce, and that's Nelson Ekujimi. Thank you, as always, for always coming on.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Indeed. So it's something of a problem knowing how to sift. There is the part of social media that is useful, is beneficial. It's a communication tool. But people now, more than perhaps any other time, because of the urgencies and emergencies that we have to be able to discern what is rubbish and fake. And how easy do you think that is? Because people seem to be reading emotionally.
Well, that is the truth. Unfortunately, human beings in their engagement, most of the time, seems to be more, ruled by emotions than by intellectualism and logic.
Yeah, that is the theoretical part of it, which, as you say,
yes,
is classical classroom stuff. But is it going to change?
No, it shouldn't.
It's not going to change.
It shouldn't be the classroom stuff. That is what should permeate our lives as human beings if we want to live in a peaceful world.
As you know, I hear you, but
because when I read that story, as a Nigerian who wants the peace of the country, I knew it was not true. And
you sort of felt
I knew
the way it was presented,
yes,
it wasn't true.
In fact, some days back, a cousin of mine sent a video to my wife where somebody was saying, oh, these people of socio-ethnic stock, oh, they are killing us. And I called the lady. I hope she's listening, she's watching me now. And I said, in your own estimation, you see, why we are human beings is that we are a higher animal. The societies only make progress when people make use of their intellect, when people ask questions. I now ask that incident you shared on social media, do you know where it occurred? Do you know the date it occurred? Do you have any person who has come out publicly to confirm such stories? And lo, here you are. Because it suits.
Without verifying
anything.
You are pushing it.
You are pushing it, and people are continuing to share.
Let's take, when the story first of all developed, our man was there, Kazim Olowe, our man in Abeokuta in Ogun State. And he gives us reports that he makes now, that he has made. And then we'll come back and talk about it afterwards.
This is the entrance of the house of Professor Wole Soyinka, the Nobel laureate. And at this entrance, aside from the chains blocking the major way, there are inscriptions here. We have the first one saying trespassing vehicles will be shot and eaten. Aside from that, there's another one saying trespassing cows will be hanged. Not only that, there's also another one here saying vehicles by appointment only, meaning that before you gain entrance into this place, you have to book appointment or call. But unfortunately, it was confirmed that yesterday, some herders with their cows enter into the premises of Professor Wole Soyinka, and this is what some people tagged to be an assassination attempt.
Yesterday at about 2 p.m., 3 of the cows that the guy was driving strayed into the compound of the Nobel laureate, not more than about 20 meters away from the entrance, and they were immediately chased out. I also learned that even our highly revered Nobel laureate even saw the cows heading towards his compound, and of course directed that they should be chased away, and they were chased away. The cows are owned by a gentleman by the name, what's your name? Kazim Shoriola, who is a Yoruba chap, and that is the big joy of everything. Although the cows were being, he placed the cow in charge of a Fulani chap, so the cows are not owned by any Fulani man, but the person in charge of the cow is a young man, a Fulani guys. So only 3 of the cows strayed into the compound. No destruction was carried out on the compound, and the act was not a willful one. 3 out of about 23 cows that the guy was driving at that particular time they were the one that strayed into the premises.
So far, situation here is calm, and people around Ilugun village at the back of Kenta Idiaba area in Abeokuta are going about their normal businesses. Kazim Olowe, TVC News, Abeokuta.
Okay, well, welcome back. Our man Kazim Olowe, as it were, rounding up the false reporting, because that's what we're looking at. That's the aspect of the story that we're looking at this morning. And we also have, I mean, imagine a stray cow, Nelson, a stray cow, and now everybody's involved, from the Commissioner of Police, the DPO, and we've even, raised DSP Abimbola Oyeyemi, the police PRO in Ogun State. Good morning to you, sir. Okay. Maybe now that we know all that we do know about it, DSP, how do you feel? Are you that so much bother about a non-issue, or was it a dangerous situation that you felt you nipped in the bud?
Well, thank you very much. I think it's just the handwork of mischief makers who are hell-bent in causing confusion and panic in the mind of members of the public. Because what actually happened is never anything that can be tagged as an invasion or anything that can be tagged as an attack. There was a particular, and they employed the service of a young Fulani man by name Hawalu Muhammad, who is taking care of the cow for him.
Okay.
So on that Monday, one of the cow got missing, and the man was tracing this stray cow around. The cows, they always have that affinity with the Fulani people that were rearing them. While the man was moving around to search for the stray cows, the other cows were following him behind, and it was that time our Nobel laureate Professor Wole Soyinka was going out of his abode there, and he met them, and he came down to demand where the man is heading to with the cattle. And after listening to the explanation, he told them that he don't want cattle around that vicinity, and that the cattle should be moved away. And immediately, the cattle moved away. 3 out of these cows stray into the entrance, some meters away to the compound of Professor Wole Soyinka, and they were chased back from that vicinity. The DPO came to the division where the incident happened, came there, and having observed the whole thing, He invited the cow owner, he invited the Fulani man, interviewed them, and she found out that there is nothing like an invasion or anything that is a sort of attack. Even yesterday, the commissioner of police himself was there physically. He personally interviewed the cow owner and the Fulani man, and it was established that it's just a case of a stray cow. But we are surprised to see video trending on social media claiming that the house of Professor Wole Soyinka has been invaded, the professor was attacked. There is nothing of sort.
All right, then. I want to thank you very much.
No attack, no invasion.
Thank you very much for coming on. I want to thank you very much, DSP Abimbola Oyeyemi, Police PRO, Ogun State Police Command. Thank you very much for your time, sir. Well, so now, after we managed to get the stray cow into just about every national newspaper, they'll find a place to give it. Somebody, there you go. One paper is even saying that SMBF and others condemned rumored herdsmen invasion of Soyinka's residence. You listen to that headline. And somebody else is saying, my dad's house not attacked, but every newspaper has something about this stray cow. It's only, unfortunately, the cow doesn't have a name, but we did get the name of the owner of the cow. No, we got the name of the owner of the cow, which is quite interesting. It's almost humorous if it wasn't so wasteful of time. The owner of the cow, as a Shoringola, an Egbaman, he's there. Shoringola, the herder, we got that one's name as well. Now, the important thing here is that a non-issue can be made into an issue, and in these times when there's tension, you were telling the story about how people were bringing ethnic colorations to it. It was a cow. It was a cow. Immediately they thought about Fulanis, and it so happened that it wasn't owned by a Fulani man. It was owned by an Egba man. It happened to be, a Fulani herder. So it seems to me that there's all sorts of shall we say, panic or recklessness, or in some cases, outright irresponsibility in the air, trying to fan ethnic tensions. It was a non-issue that was blown.
Yes, we've had to battle with this culture of mischief, lies, falsehood, misinformation to incite the Nigerian people against themselves since 2015.
So is it out of fashion, the words of I think it was the old national anthem about though tribe and tongue may differ, in brotherhood we stand. One knows that there are tensions, but it's like we're getting jittery, and it's a cause for concern.
Yes, we're getting jittery because a major player for national integration has bought into the scripts. And that is a section of the Nigerian media. Every day you wake up in the morning, it is one story about ethnicity or religion. And like I said earlier on, unfortunately, the mass of the people are buying into it. And, I usually admonish my friends that, look, even when Nigeria was in the era of oil boom, how much did the poor of the Nigerian people, how did they benefit? Now the elites have been those who have been politically and economically displaced are looking for every means to set this country on fire. And I tell my people, you owe your generations that responsibility to tell them that, look, you're on your own. Don't make your enemy my enemy. This issue of misinformation on the social media, even just last week, the British football fraternity was in turmoil over the death threat to a referee. The death threat was not only targeted at him, but also targeted at his family. And this morning, I was listening to the news, and Instagram was making that proposition that, look, we are going to, filter stories that we allow to come on on our channel. And I think the social media platforms, maybe that is another intervention that, the global body, because it shouldn't be Nigeria now.
Well, I think I hear you, and as far as social media is concerned, those that are public are public. But because something like WhatsApp or Telegram or Signal, these ones are private networks. You select your audience. You understand?
Yes, like Facebook. Like Twitter. I believe
yes.
Like,
well,
just
yes.
like WhatsApp. You know, if I control a group now,
But they are public.
They are
I think
public,
the point
yeah.
is that they are public.
They are public.
Now the other ones are even as you recall that WhatsApp will tell you that even we can't see your messages. We that are WhatsApp, we can't see your messages. So that's the private network pattern. That's the dangerous part in the sense that people hide under the cover of that anonymity. I beg your pardon, Mr. Joshua. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Okuyori.
Thank you for calling in.
I greet your guest.
Yes,
I'm very happy with what he's saying. And
the dangers of misuse of social media.
Yeah, Okuyori, we should not be in doubt about the fact that some people are determined to tear apart Nigeria and using the social media as a tool. We should not be in doubt about that. It is a major threat and is staring us in the face very clearly. It is very, very, I'm happy that I'm able to reach you this morning, Okuyori. Now, we don't have a nation yet, and people are catching in on that to further divide Nigeria and to tear us apart. It is both political, let me just say this before so I don't take your time, Okuyori. I want to plead that I know we have a president. The president should address the nation at this time to disown all violence associated with herdsmen. It has nothing to do with a tribe. Okuyori, if people are carrying AK-47 about in the forest and any iota of death is associated with them, they are criminals. We need a president who will address the nation and tell the nation, I am not a party to criminal herdsmen. We need the president to tell Nigerians that, dissociate himself from it, so that any criminal found in any forest can be dealt with. This has nothing to do with ethnicity or Okuyori.
All right,
Please,
then.
the president to rise to the occasion.
I hear
Thank
you.
you, sir.
Thank you very much for calling in. And it's interesting, the point he brings up that when that point that he brings up that at this stage the president needs to speak, I think I remember, it reminded me of something that it's Seun Kimbaloye of Channels. He asked Femi Adesina this exact question as to why his principal was so reticent and was not speaking. And Adesina had responded to Seun Kimbaloye that whoever is saying that had better correct himself to say he had not heard the president speak, because this president has spoken numerous times about this particular issue, and that he had said quite consistently that, just like Mr. Joshua said, if anybody is carrying an AK-47, doesn't matter whether he's a pastor or whether he's robed or that person is a criminal.
No, Yori.
See, he said the president has said that time without number. I just wanted to sort of bring that up to speed.
Let me even come in here. That is also the misinformation people are going about it. The video and the images that we see of alleged herdsmen carrying AK-47, people have x-rayed that video and said those videos emanated from Kenya and not in Nigeria.
Of course, we've had this.
So when Nigerians
it goes back to what Mr. Joshua is saying, and that you are saying, that there are people who are quite frankly working against
political reasons,
working against calm and peace.
Maybe religious
Mr. Yakub, good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Mr. Kujimi, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
I totally agree with Mr. Joshua. You see, some of us that fans of Mr. President, I believe Mr. President or the people working close to him are watching this program this morning. We are hereby call on him because he needs to address the nation. Because some people perpetrate evil in the name of X-Men. Evil people that is not even Fulanis. They perpetrate evils, and then at the end of the day, they will say it's X-Men. There's no doubt about it, Shiviori. There are some Fulani Herdsmen that carry guns. There is no doubt about it. But Mr. President needs to address the nation that and make it clear to every one of us. That
So, what do you say? It's fortunate that I remember that conversation between Femi Adesina, presidential spokesperson, and Seun Okingba Loye, Channel's news, interviewer. I remember that. So, if Femi Adesina has said, he's on record as saying that the president speaks up often about this and has said that criminals need to be apprehended. Don't tell me any other thing. If a person is carrying an AK-47, you don't need my permission to arrest him.
Okay, in that case, if it is true, and then if it is so as well, it is now left to Nigerian police and then all the security apparatus to carry out that directive.
Okay.
That Mr. President made it clear that
Okay.
anybody that carry AK-47 it will be get arrested. So that is why the corruption is also in this country.
Okay,
And
Yakub, thank you very much. I'm sorry, sir. I've got to interrupt you at this stage just so I can free the space up for someone else. But thank you very much, Mr. Yakub. And you were shaking your head.
Yes.
About what aspect of it?
My position is that the Nigerian Constitution is very, very clear. Mr. President has sworn oath to uphold the Constitution. You saw what happened in Abeokuta. Mr. President didn't call the Commissioner of Police before he responded to his security situation. That is his primary responsibility. So for me, I disagree absolutely. That means Mr. President should address the nation on kidnappers. Mr. President should address the nation on banditry. Mr. President should address the nation on rapists. Is that any act that is against the Constitution, they are statutorily established bodies who are charged with the responsibility to maintain law and order. So you don't need Mr. President to tell anybody to do his job.
Oh, okay. Mr. Garba calling in from Makurdi.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir.
To you again, somebody.
Yeah, thank you for calling.
Thank you for having you. I'm very happy that I reached you this morning. You see, Uncle Yori, we have to be very careful in this country. One is that, you see, what is happening in this country, we need to be very careful. It's social media, and we ourselves. You see that someone that is literate will look at that kind of message on social media, and he believed that such a thing happened. I was shocked. I'm following Twitter. I'm following Shehu Sani. Shehu Sani immediately retweeted that he debunked that issue. Immediately, people on the social media start attacking him. How do you know? Because you come from the other side. Blah blah. What everybody know in Nigeria, Shehu Sani has been outspoken against this thing. And I believe that anything that Shehu Sani will come and write on social media, maybe he might have spoke with Wole Soyinka, Nobel laureate, and he told him that it's lie, he debunked it. But if you see how Nigerians keep on attacking him, I'm sorry to say this. Aside from that, let me allude to what this man said. In Taraba State, President was in Taraba, I think 2 years or back, 1 year like that. He said he's not aware that Fulani men are carrying AK-47. He gave marching order there and then he said any herdsman, not any herdsman, either he's an imam or a pastor, has come with any rifle, AK-47 should get arrested. But the security agency, he said it, and I believe you can Google it and see in Taraba. When things that happen in Sadana, we have to be very careful of this. Aside from that, I'm coming, let me allude that again. In your channels here, vividly, I watch Lai Mohammed retried that. He said anybody that is carrying AK-47, any arm, should get arrested and beaten with. So what I'm saying is that it's late for our security agencies. They are not doing their work. You know what? And some people that are trying to divide this country, they are doing every means to divide Nigeria, and they can do that. They will do that. In Benue last week.
Okay. Thank you very much for calling in, Garba. Thank you very much also for your contribution. Exactly, because it dovetails. You see, I don't know, sometimes a man hears what he wants to hear and disregards the rest.
Absolutely.
And that is the situation that we find ourselves in, that quite frankly, everybody has to get to work on. Because clearly there are some columnists in there. If a simple stray cow, which is what has brought about the conversation today, there are 1,001 subjects that could also bring on this conversation, but if a stray cow has caused this furore, it's because so many people identify themselves as of one ethnic group, and so many others also identify themselves as the other. Now, these are some of the things that I don't know who these people are. Are they sociologists? Are they psychotherapists? It looks like we need help nationally.
We need help.
We need help nationally.
Unfortunately.
So who is going to help us?
Well, we are going to help ourselves.
We're going to have to arrive there.
Yeah, we are going to help
helping
ourselves.
ourselves.
Yes, we have to help
because
ourselves.
people are just jumping on the bandwagon. People were sharing that video for whatever reason.
Because people have subsumed.
No,
They are, no, you
it
said there
has
is-
become entertainment.
Yes, people have
Not realizing how dangerous this entertainment is.
People have subsumed their rationality to parochialism. People don't no longer reason. I tell people, the only person that can bring any story to me and I will not question is my maker. But any other thing I get from any source, I have to verify.
You need to
I
verify.
filter.
I
But
think-
a lot of our people,
I think that's a fine
they
place to leave
swim
it.
along with anything.
Maybe that's the fine place to leave it. That look, if a thing sounds salacious, if it sounds, people should just take the extra time to verify.
a check.
Just
Do a
check it
check.
out. Maybe we'll come and talk about how you can actually verify a story. A lot of people using social media do not know
Absolutely.
how to go about
Yes.
trying to find out if this story is fake or not. Maybe we should have a little program on that, bringing those kind of people in.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, I want to thank you very much for coming on. We all need to be aware of the danger of social media reporting. It isn't all good. It isn't all of the standard of VOA, TVC news channels, and all the other reputable media, even though they're all on that same social media. And so you just have to check stories out, and save us all this trouble where a cow gets national coverage. Okay, and also thanks to the Mr. DSP Abimbola Oyeyemi, Police PRO in Ogun State Command in Abeokuta there. Thank you very much, sir. And also Aman Kazim that put together that report. We'll take a break now. We'll be right back and we'll look at something else. The cost of fuel is likely to go up, according to rumors that I'm hearing around. We'll talk about that. Okay, welcome back. As I was going out, in case somebody just said just those last few seconds, I didn't actually say that the price of fuel was going to go up, because I put some more words after that. After saying those words, I said, according to rumors all around me. So now we're going to get to the truth. That's the full statement. It is speculative, but then there's reason. The price has gone up, and you can see that I've been joined by our friend of the house. I could call him engineer, I could call him comrade, I could call him, I'll just go with comrade Balazaka. I'm not going to call you Mr. Balazaka. Okay, there must be something. Comrade.
Thank you. I'm comfortable with that.
Balazaka is an oil and gas expert, and thank you for making time for us again.
Thank you.
Indeed. Now, in this context here, are we being too simplistic? Those of us that are reading the news and listening to the news and hearing that because the price has gained on the international market,
yes,
we're beginning to be worried that let them not let the pump price go up, because when it went down,
yes,
these people did not go to those pumps and quickly adjust it.
Correct.
But Nigeria being Nigeria,
yes,
I would not be surprised if 10 seconds after everything is cut and dried, the prices would have jumped to where they want them to be. I don't know why people do those kind of dishonest things, but they do it. Now, go back to my supposition. Is it a reasonable assumption that the pump price is going to go up?
Yes, and it's very simple, and it has to do with the economic peculiarities of Nigeria, and
not just economics, flat. It is peculiarities of...
Yes, because when subsidy failed, it only failed in Nigeria. You understand? When refining failed, it's only failed in Nigeria.
Okay.
And when you talk about economic restructuring mechanisms of a nation or a country, you can have commercialization, you can have deregulation, you can have privatization and liberalization. All these concepts work when you apply them to the appropriate or the right sectors.
Let me catch one of those terms, which is deregulation.
Correct.
That's where we are. That's what we are in Nigeria.
Yes, Nigeria chose deregulation.
Yes.
And Nigeria chose deregulation not because deregulation is not a good concept, but in the context of Nigeria and the peculiarities of Nigeria, deregulation will fail. Deregulation will fail Nigerians, it will move Nigerian economy to the cliff, and if we don't hold it and reverse and recalibrate, I'm telling you, it will sink us into the valley.
Then that's not deregulation anymore, if we've interfered with the process.
No, it's we adopted that concept for the downstream sector of the oil and gas industry, and it is injurious to the economy. But like I said, all of them, all these concepts, deregulation works, privatization works, commercialization works, and liberalization. But you need to look at your peculiarities, then apply any of these concepts. And now let me explain. You see, when you look at Nigeria, first of all, Nigeria has a very weak currency. You know it and I know it. We are suffering from devaluation, which is even an official downgrading of the value of our currency. We are suffering from depreciation, which is something that has to do with the competition of our currency based on our trade. We don't produce or we don't process raw materials. When you look at our balance of trade, our balance of trade is negative or near zero, because the export-import differential, which is supposed to be a part of a GDP, is near zero or negative instead of being a plus, plus, plus. That is, if we were to be exporting. So you know, I know we don't export processed products. Rather, we export raw materials. You know and I know.
Including crude.
Exactly. You know and I know that because our naira value is sinking, you understand, disposable income is the income that comes to a worker or a person after you remove all the necessary official obligations. And when you do that, and the value of the disposable income now becomes eroded due to inflation, you will fall flat. So these things are very simple. All we need to do, believe me, is to recalibrate our steps. 10 years ago, it was we said that deregulation was not going to be in favor of Nigeria. 5 years ago, we said it. But let us analyze it now. All those that said deregulation was going to work, where are they? Then another question is this. If you go to our economic managers, in this case, our leaders, because our leaders also are supposed to lead, because they are the drivers while other citizens follow. If you ask our economic managers a very simple question and said, okay, you have decided that you want to choose deregulation for the downstream sector of the Nigerian oil and gas industry. I'm not talking for the health sector, education, just downstream. Okay, you chose that. Please guide your citizens, explain to your citizens, the deregulation you opted for, is it an import-focused deregulation or internal refining domestication deregulation?
You know, we'll come.
They won't explain to you.
Exactly.
They will just be neutral and quiet.
We'll come back and try and understand the difference between the two. But we have a report that was, prepared in our newsroom and put out relating to this subject matter. Let's take that report and then come back to studio.
No worries.
The Customers Express portal CEX is a web-based self-service platform for real-time product sales and depot management. It was designed to make the process of petroleum products purchase seamless and flexible for marketers. But with the recent development as shared by these independent marketers, the platform has become more of a problem to them than blessings. These are the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, members of the Petroleum Tanker Drivers, and that of the Independent Marketers Branch of NUPENG. They are unhappy with the new policy drive of the NNPC.
Just on Monday, the NNPC management introduced an e-payment, which it was not formally or officially, given to us. So, the e-payment, we have gone to the online portal. It has been very difficult to access. As if that is not enough, the products that we have paid for, the NNPC has refused to load us the product that we have paid for, which is unacceptable to us. Even the issue of e-payment is unacceptable to us until the needful has been done, because there is no proper communication to us.
You are holding our money, you are saying, because unless you go online. If you want us to go online, you give us sufficient notice. We were just informed only on Monday, and just last night you said you are shutting down the system against us. We are people that have not even paid, that they are going to pay after sale. You are loading them. We won't take it. And in fact, I'm emphasizing again, if this decision is not rescinded between now and tomorrow, all independent marketer stations will be shut down.
According to them, all means of resolving the contending issues before it degenerated to this point did not yield positive result. They have now vowed to down tools if the directive is not reverted.
Major marketers, that is the Mobile, Total, and the rest, they buy on credit. The NMPC retail station buy on credit. We pay cash. At the end of the day, we have over 500 million naira in NMPC system, which they have not denied us to load until when they allow us to load those products. No depot in Southwest is going to load. And if this decision is not rescinded, by tomorrow, all filling stations will be shut down.
Well, we have not been officially informed that there is an increment in price. The only thing we have been informed of is that we should pay online. As far as I am concerned as a stakeholder, it's a retroactive policy. Retroactive in the sense that I paid days before that policy was introduced, and yet I'm being denied loading. What we are asking for as a stakeholder is that we should be treated equally. We should be treated fairly.
It is expected that all concerned parties will meet and agree on the next step to take to help avert this looming fuel scarcity across the country.
Well, these are other reasons, related to what we're talking about, but maybe the way to cut to the chase of it all is that where is the enjoyment for the Nigerian consumer? It goes up, there seems to be suffering for the consumer. It comes down, he doesn't seem to get the benefit of it coming down, so he's still suffering.
Yes.
What exactly do you think is going on here, where the Nigerian fuel consumer is not getting joy?
It's because the model we have adopted or employed for our deregulation will yield us zero benefit, and I will explain. Like we said,
Why would we do anything like that? Why would we adopt a model that would yield us zero benefit, unless that is just your own opinion?
Yes, it's not my own opinion because it
can be backed by
we can
empirical
prove it
data.
now. Because the reason is very simple.
Okay.
It's one part. Initially I blamed the leaders, but now I'm beginning to shift away, and I've started blaming technocrats. Because I've just discovered that political leaders don't claim to be medical doctors, engineers, builders, educationists. They bring in technocrats. And when somebody brings you in as either a technical assistant or personal assistant, that description is you're supposed to help him. And as a leader, if the person wants to go to the right, you better tell him that going to the right will be injurious to your image and whatever. And if he insists, fine.
So you're saying it's a knowledge thing? It's a knowledge thing?
Of course, it's a knowledge thing. When you talk about...
If people had the knowledge, we might possibly have been led differently, in a different direction from that which we find ourselves and we're complaining now.
Not really. You see, if you are brought in as a technocrat, whether technical assistant or personal assistant, somebody brought
as an expert,
yes, as an expert to help him. Mm-hmm. So at that point, it is your professionalism that you put forward, not because the person wants to help you probably to feed. Mm-hmm. And that was what, because that person, if he could do it alone as a leader, he wouldn't have brought you in. So when you look at what is happening, it's very clear. As long as we refuse to internally refine, and we know that we are suffering from business climate hostilities as a result of insecurity, and we know that we'll always look for foreign exchange to bring in refined products, the economy will suffer. Because once the price of crude oil goes up, right, the refineries offshore buy this crude oil. They buy it at higher cost. So when they refine it at higher cost, because we don't refine internally and we need to go there, we will buy it at a higher cost. Then if the price of crude oil goes down, ordinarily, you should expect that the revenues that will come to Nigeria, because Nigeria sells, the Nigerian revenue will come down. But if you were to be refining internally, I will insist, Nairanization of the downstream is what is going to help. It doesn't mean you don't get spare parts. Every country, Even countries that manufacture automobiles get spare parts from other places. But because we have it here, and the processing facility is supposed to be here, you will get the crude oil within Nigeria in Naira. You can move it to your respective refineries either through rail lines or wagons
that is if
or
we
tankers.
had the refineries.
Yes, if we insist, in Naira.
Ibrahim, thank you very much for calling in and indeed for holding on. Ibrahim in Kaduna. Good morning, Ibrahim in Kaduna. Yes, sir.
You see, I want to really shift in your first deliberation then.
Okay.
Concerning the social media.
False reporting.
Wahala.
Yes.
You see, government one time said that they want to regulate the system, but unfortunately, people pick against it. Now you can look at the harm that social media is trying to cause to us.
Exactly. That is what we wanted to point out. But you couldn't get in then. But Ibrahim, we've moved on to another subject. We've moved on to another subject.
Now, the topic, I want you to brush on that. So social media needs to be regulated. Finally, the issue of fuel subsidy, the issue of fuel. God will help us until we get things right in this country.
Okay.
Fuel issue will continue to be something that will be dangling up and down for us. God has blessed us with this natural gift. And when we're able to put on a genuine refinery in this country, we are not going to escape from this situation we find ourselves. Why? This morning, you know that we want to go and buy kerosene. Before the kerosene, a gallon has skyrocketed more than 1,000, which we are buying Kaduna here is 1,000 or 900. But this morning, it's very unfortunate for us. Government, please, let's do something better for us. So that we're able to tackle this situation. Refineries should come to stay. Despite this Dangote room, we should not do anything. Refinery will be a way out for us. If those ones, the old one will not work again, let them revive because this is a national blessing for us. And look at the crude that we push out. Many blessings that being in that crude has been shifted out to other countries to make use of it and bring it back to us until the crude has been brought down. If not, we're not able to go anywhere.
Okay then, Ibrahim, I want to thank you very much for calling in from Kaduna. Thank you very much. It goes back to the point you were making that until we begin to
internally domesticate.
Domesticate the whole setup.
And this is one thing I want to say. I'm not an atheist, but I believe there is one God looking over, watching over about 7 billion people. Nigeria is just 200 million.
Ibrahim started by saying God will help us.
Nigerians are only 200 million. But my belief is, apart from the one God we all have, this world is led based on laws and principles, then procedures. If Nigeria refuses to follow the procedures, Nigeria will suffer. So you see, like we were talking, I mean, it's very, very clear. Some people 10 years ago said, deregulate, we were going to see improvement 5 years ago. But as I speak to you today, if the price of refined petroleum products, let's just stick to petrol for now, goes to probably 200, which it will eventually get to and exceed because of the way that our Naira is being messed up, how do you expect a barber to break even? How do you expect a hairdresser to break even? So how do you expect that person running a computer center to break even? And when you talk about macroeconomic indices and you want to grow GDP, those are the people you're talking about.
Indeed. 1 second, please. Let me bring in Tunde from Jeba. Good morning, Tunde.
Good morning, Mr. Yori.
Thank you for calling in. Go ahead, sir.
My greetings to your guest.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I really want to touch a little, just a little bit about what you said earlier. I called yesterday. Remember what I told you about President getting up and say something. If the police had not gotten up to say something immediately, this should be spreading around. And on the petrol issue, the rest of the world is using electric car. We're still fighting on stupid petrol. Come on. Nigeria, wake up for crying.
Okay. As you know, thank you, sir. But as you know, there are, just for the record, a number of electric vehicles on the road in Nigeria. I'm not saying anywhere near as many as they should be, but, you know, The point I take the point he's making, that the world is moving away from fossil fuel, and here we are still luxuriating.
With due respect, I appreciate dynamism in technology, but I will still go back and tell us that monitor your peculiarities. Some countries, developed countries, still drive their economy from revenues from coal.
That's right.
As toxic as coal is, some people do that. Crude oil, a lot of people still refine this crude oil. Energy will remain energy. Believe me, the reason why you have this graduation, to electric car is because we want to move away from fossil fuel. But if people are using coal, including developed nations, we didn't use coal effectively in Nigeria. We didn't use crude oil and refine it effectively. We didn't use natural gas to even drive gas. And somebody is saying we should jump to electric cars. Let's be very honest.
Okay. Mazi Okorafo, how say you, sir?
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Sir. Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir.
Yes.
Honestly, sir, fuel pump price increase or increment is not the solution. Nigerian government has to start that is state and local government what diversification is what Nigerians need. Look at South Africa. Let me take for example South Africa, just some seconds. South Africa, they are now diversified. South Africa, that all their policies that they have reduced that at least that's their total, they have diversified their space in South Africa. Some regional policy that government is now flexible in Saudi Arabia. Now, see how Saudi Arabia are moving. Now, you ask yourself, why did Saudi Arabia diversify? Because they are saying that in future, that fuel will no longer be relevant. We have what we call now in Rwanda, now what we call Rwanda now, that you use the electric now to run or battery to run your motor, not only motor, even water, to run your keke or even your machine that are now in Rwanda. Now, if Rwanda has such mentality, you say that when there's those groups raise an issue of electric car in Nigeria, they shut him down because he was giving them what we talk about digital era or digital era or digital era. Nigeria should think about how to change from oil. Let's go back to the basics. Now or never. If you see back up on oil every day, honestly speaking, it's shaking. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much, Mazi Okorafo.
Let me answer directly from Mazi's own.
Yes.
The reason why people are moving, are diversifying, is because they want to boost other aspects of the economy. But
also realizing that, fossil
fuel
fuel is a wasting asset.
It's not necessary. Yes, of course, that's it, because you deplete the reservoir after some time. But the key thing you ask is this: when the petrodollars come, when you sell either refined product or crude oil, what comes back to you is petrodollars. So the difference between Nigeria and other nations is that when these petrodollars come, they may decide to just build hospitals. They may decide now to go and build up good universities so that people will be coming in and bringing in foreign exchange. They will come up with their own, probably Silicon Valley. They will come up with their technology hub. So the question is this: it's not the dollar that, if you go to like a place called Makoko in Lagos, Makoko by the lagoon beside Unilag, you will see timber on water.
Right.
Some countries have only timber. They don't have coal, they don't have cocoa. What they sell is this: when they sell the timber, what you send back to them is the dollars. So, the hard currency, what do they use it to do? That is the question.
I guess that's the question.
In the context of Nigeria, we've not been doing the right thing. And we need to recalibrate our approach in using the petrodollars to plant and fix other sectors.
Okay, we're going to have to leave it there, but we still have the problem of the impending increase in fuel price.
It will happen because the naira is the value of the naira. We've heard the drivers say that. The value of the naira, as long as it continues to sink and get devaluated and depreciated, and we rely on imports, you will always need foreign currency. Nigerian naira is not known outside, and that foreign currency is what will hit us.
That point is taken. We got to go, but thank you very much, Bala Zaka, our oil and gas expert. Thank you very much, as always.
Thank you.
Indeed. So that's our program today then. As always, as I leave, just to remind us, social distancing, masking, and there's one more, frequent washing of hands. And, I think either 10 or 50, depending on the circumstances. That's the maximum crowd you should allow yourself to be found in. See you tomorrow, God willing. I'm Yori Folarin. Bye-bye for now.